Washington Football. Hey, what's going on, Washington Football X? It's your boy Rod. Steve just gave me a thumbs up, a little bit premature blast there, but all good. We are back with Pod 69, so what a better reason to come in a little bit hot and steamy. So, Phil, kick off Pod 69, and then we'll talk about one of the special guests we got here this evening. Go ahead, Phil.
Well, wait a minute, man. You said hot and steamy?
You said hot and steamy.
You gonna let that shit ride?
And what's funny is that if you know number 69 is probably the most notable guy to wear that number for the Washington football team, formerly the Washington Redskins, would be a man with the nickname of Stink, Mark Schlereth. And if you know why he got that nickname, you know why hot and steamy is appropriate.
There you go.
So a lot of people remember him from the second half of his career. Ran with the Broncos, was on their 2 Super Bowl teams. He was actually our starting right guard for the 91 Super Bowl team, greatest team ever. Started all 16 games. And he was notable because he was, like many guys who started on our offensive line, he was a late round pick. He was drafted in the 10th round of the 89 NFL draft, back when they had 12 rounds. 263rd pick. And the guy ended up starting 140 games in the NFL, including
the backbone of the Eagles.
Is this Howie Roseman?
My bad.
You're good, dude.
Doug Peterson calling for a job. So anyway, Mark Schlereth, he's an analyst now. He has his own podcast. So he's well-known guy. But yes, guys start with Washington, establish himself in Washington. Just another one of those second wave hogs that we remember very fondly.
Absolutely, and we all remember Stink bringing lots of destruction on the dirty birds up north in Philly. So with that being said, we got to introduce our guest. I know, I'm sorry, Eric. Hey, Steve gave me the info on you. So we are joined this evening by Erick Hellwig. He has a podcast, pretty damn hilarious. It's Bringing the Backup. So when you hear a podcast named like that, you would assume that the guy has to be a Washington football team fan, because that's all we typically do in this fan base is talk about backups. But Eric, like I said, he has a podcast, Bringing the Backups. Absolutely fucking hilarious. The guy rants about backup quarterbacks across the league, not just Philadelphia. So, Eric, thanks for joining this evening, man. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. I actually thought Schlereth got his nickname by paying prostitutes to take dumps on his chest. Are you sure that's not what it was? I'm like 99% sure that's what it is.
God damn.
He looks like the kind of dude who may do that, but no.
Thug life. Got some good chili, though. I mean, say what you want to say.
That name is kind of junk.
The green chili was pretty good. Give him credit on that. I don't want to eat it now.
I don't think any guest has had a better introductory comment than that one, man. So you get a fucking round of applause for sure.
Who was talking shit on me when I was trying to figure out my headphones? Because
that was Phil.
Phil, me, someone.
That was all of us.
Yeah.
It was all of us.
Look, I see Philly 083 as a tag here. So, like, what? Are you a Philly fan or what's going on?
Oh, no, my name's Phil, and everybody calls me Philio back home.
So you're
I have no love for Philly. I'm a DC guy.
All right.
I don't like the Flyers. I don't like the Phillies. I don't like the Eagles. Don't like the Sixers.
Can I tell you one of my favorite things is that the
you don't like the black on Whoopi Goldberg's lips? No. Y'all don't watch
The Eagles drafted Dallas Goedert. They're I guess now backup tight end, but if Ertz leaves, he'll be the starter. But we all started calling him Philly Goddard because they just couldn't stand saying the word Dallas every time he caught a pass.
That's hilarious.
That's true. I can see that.
Yeah,
I can see that though.
Hey, so Eric, I know your background already, but can you tell us a little bit about where you were raised, where you were born, like you told me, and then how you became a Eagles fan before we go further down into this podcast?
You gotta do it like this. In West Philadelphia, born in
So yeah, I was a military brat. So I was born in Germany. We moved around a lot when I was a kid. I actually I always tell people I was not in the same school until high school. I was in a new school every single year, moving through 8th grade. And so I lived a lot of places. I lived in South Carolina, Louisiana, New Jersey, Virginia. A lot of my family, my mom's family's from the DC area. So most of my family are Washington fans. But my dad's from Philly, and he did a very effective job of brainwashing me as a kid. Even though
kids, y'all should be like me, have no dad, become a Washington fan. Wow.
That's true. A bunch of dadless men usually flock to the Washington football team. Do I have to keep saying Washington football team? I mean,
you say whatever you want.
Dumb.
Yes, you do.
Why?
You can say Red Wolves. We
no.
Well, look. We don't got to go racial in the first 5 seconds. But my grandmother's Aztec Indian. Okay, she's from Laredo, Texas. She was married to my grandfather. They lived in D.C. and they had Redskin shit all over their house. So if she was cool with it, can I say it? Washington football team is like 85 syllables. Like I'm like a year older and my pubes turn grayer by the time I'm done saying it. Give your team a name. I'm not going to say Washington football team every time I want to say Redskins. Just call them the Hogs or something, but pick a name, guys. It's not woke to not have a name. It's annoying.
You know, Rodney and Phil have that same opinion. I don't mind football team or whatever. I mean, I would prefer a mascot, but Rod and Phil are very let's pick a name and let's go.
Well, my brother-in-law says, like, I mean, maybe you guys know this too. People started just calling them the team, which I think is like, I think that sounds pretty cool.
Me too.
But they're not my team, so I'm not going to call them the team. Yeah. So, like, you guys got a nickname.
You can call them the team that beats the Eagles. That's what you can call them.
What do you call us, Daddy?
Dude, how is anybody that roots for your terrible franchise have any type of arrogance about your team?
I don't know.
That's how they talk to us now. They got one Super Bowl, man. They got one Super Bowl, and that's how they talk to us.
You just joined the club a couple years ago now.
Is it Dev?
Yes, it is.
Dev, how old are you?
I don't want to tell my age, but I'm probably older than you are. I'm 43.
You're 43. Okay, so in that case, like you were like maybe still shitting your pants when the Redskins won a Super Bowl, right? Like, how old were you?
I think I was playing Tecmo Bowl when that happened, so I was old enough. I remember.
Are you sure? Okay.
15.
Because the Redskins heyday, when the Redskins heyday, I don't think you developed object permanence yet. Okay, you were a little kid. The team has sucked your whole life. So you've got no reason to go after an Eagles fan. We won the Super Bowl 3 years ago. 3 years? Yeah, 2018. We got bragging rights. We got bragging rights for now.
My auntie's not an Aztec. She's not a Navajo. She's more of a Chicago hoe. But she didn't care. She didn't care what we called the team. She and my uncle raised me a Washington fan. You know what I'm saying? So I'm from Kentucky, by the way. But they're Air Force. My uncle was a Chief Master Sergeant Air Force. He worked at the Pentagon, so I used to go there as a kid, and that's what turned me into a fan.
My dad worked in the Pentagon on 9/11.
Wow, oh, shit! Yeah.
He's alive.
Yeah, God bless that.
Did anybody did he see anything? Because nobody else did.
No, so he had like 2 offices because he was in the military, but he'd gotten out by that point. So and like literally gotten out of the Army like maybe like 3 months before all that stuff. And so, like, he had an office in the Pentagon, but I guess, like, one day a week he was somewhere out in, like, suburban Virginia, and he happened to be out of the Pentagon that day. But my godfather – so I actually misspoke. My dad was not in the Pentagon, but he worked in the Pentagon when that happened. And then my godfather was there and saw shit. So, yeah, that was kind of a crazy – I don't know. I don't know why I would be talking about this on your football podcast.
I mean, we very seldom talk about football on this football podcast on Saturdays, you know.
Let me answer the question Steve asked. So my dad brainwashed me. There's photos of me when I'm 3 years old in a Randall Cunningham jersey in like Bad Kreuznach, Germany. I didn't even know what the Eagles were, but he did a very effective job of just making it so I almost like he passed that down like a family heirloom. So yeah, by the time we came to the States, I was a diehard Eagles fan, and it was me and him against like the rest of my mom's side of the family because they were all Skins fans. And that was it, man. And like for most of my life, I mean, really leading up to like McNabb being the quarterback, the Eagles were really bad. And even when they were good, like they had a great defense, they couldn't get it right at quarterback, or, you know, Randall couldn't get it done in the playoffs, as much as I love Randall Cunningham. So it was like it felt like an earned moment when we won the Super Bowl, because it's like, it felt like a very snake-bitten franchise. Even when the Eagles were good, you like knew that like something was going to happen to fuck it up. And then the fact that they won the Super Bowl with a goddamn backup quarterback just made it that much sweeter. You know, it was like the ultimate FU to the football gods for that for it to happen that way.
The irony of that happening.
Yeah, I kind of want to ask you, do you wish that you guys kept Foles over Wentz?
Oh, dude, oh my God, dude. How long do I have on this podcast?
Foles is the greatest. I had this discussion today at lunch. Foles is the greatest backup quarterback that ever lived, man.
Of course he is.
Or Doug Williams.
I would say Doug Williams, because he won a Super Bowl.
So the Foles.
And well, no, what I'm saying is like, I value it as like who took their team the farthest. So Doug Williams was number one. Then I guess like Hostetler won as a backup, so you'd have to throw him on there.
I forgot him.
And then, but then what Nick Foles did as a backup, as great as that Doug Williams Super Bowl is, I mean, Nick Foles threw for like 800 yards against Tom Brady in the fucking Super Bowl.
Taylor HEINICKE did that. I mean,
oh my God!
That shit.
Oh no!
Taylor HEINICKE did that, man.
We're already bringing in backups.
Taylor HEINICKE outplayed Brady.
What are you saying, dude? Words have to mean something, Dev. Words have to mean something.
I'm saying you're saying that Foles beat Tom Brady. So did Taylor HEINICKE. What's that mean?
No.
He didn't beat him.
You didn't beat him.
No, Dev's got a point. Like, it was one of those weird victories where you win the game, but then the other team still moves on in the playoffs, right? Oh, yeah, that's right.
Damn.
Why are you saying HEINICKE beat Brady? The team
He outplayed him. He outplayed him, rather.
Okay, well, Foles outplayed Brady and the team won. So that's what matters. So that's a better performance than Taylor HEINICKE in a wild – I can't even believe I'm making this argument.
I can't either. I'm sorry.
I
apologize.
Yeah. We apologize.
We're very divided on the
HEINICKE here. Jesus, Dev, what are you doing?
Dev, this is
bad.
Here's the thing. Taylor HEINICKE is going to one day make a fantastic episode for your pod.
Dude, this is how I choose who I'm rooting. This is how I choose who I'm rooting for on a depth chart. Who's the more backup-y player? That guy never got a shot. I'm rooting for him. So as much as I love Fitzpatrick, and on 28 NFL teams, I'd be rooting for him to uproot the starter. But Taylor HEINICKE was like, he was literally like probably taking like accounting classes a week before playing in the playoffs. How the hell am I not going to root for that guy?
Right.
Over anybody, like literally anybody. Like, I don't care if you have Trevor Lawrence and Taylor HEINICKE's your practice squad arm.
Right.
I'm like, HEINICKE over Lawrence. I ride with the backups till I'm dead. Ride or die.
Jesus, that quarterback HEINICKE.
Eric, in an alternate universe, you are a diehard Washington fan with that mindset right there.
Yeah, well, I remember when you guys were trying to, make Shane Matthews a thing.
We tried to make John Beck a thing.
John Beck, yeah. You were like, dude, if magic underwear works, he proved you can suck your way out of magic underwear into a shitty career. No, you guys have so many backup. I mean, look, I just love those I just love like Spurrier. Like, I know there was like a thing where like people are pissed that like Tebow's coming back as an 8th string tight end in training camp next year. But like, that's the thing that every coach does, especially college coaches. They just bring all their guys from their school and they think like, yeah, this will work. So the fact when Spurrier came to you guys that he had Danny Werfel, who had like a noodle arm in college. In college, they were like, this dude can't throw out routes. Like, the receivers are having to come back to the ball once they go 8 yards out. The fact that dude had starts for your team is crazy. Who
was worse though, Spurrier or Chip Kelly?
Uh-oh.
Chip got to the playoffs, and what did Spurrier went 8-8 both seasons, right?
No. 7-9 and 5-11,
Right.
and then he was out.
Oh wow, I thought he had a 500 season. I guess I'm wrong on that. Look,
No, 500. You're not going 500 with Danny Werfel on your practice squad.
Here's the thing. What I liked about Spurrier was that he was up front. I remember there was a press conference where they were like, yeah, somebody said they saw you leaving the practice. They saw you leaving the facility at 4:30 on a Friday before a game. He was like, yeah, I was playing golf. Like Spurrier just didn't care. Like he was like, I'm a lazy college coach and I'm going to see if I can get by on minimal effort in the NFL. And he couldn't. Chip Kelly was like, I'm all like team and blah, blah, blah. And like, and then the way he ran that team sucked, man. Like
customized protein shakes from Chip Kelly.
Chip Kelly was like he was more than a morale killer. He was like, I don't know, like a morale rapist. Like he was the worst. He just ruined everything about what was so fun about that Eagles team. Like, I don't know. Like obviously I love Deshaun Jackson. I think LaShawn McCoy is a piece of shit, but like I loved him as a player. But like the way he like unceremoniously dumped players and then like leaked shit to the press about like Deshaun being in a gang, I was like, fuck this guy, man. Like, even if we're good, I don't want to be good like this. Like, right. I just didn't like – for a guy that talked about culture, I thought his culture sucked. So I'm not surprised he's struggled in every place he's been since Philadelphia. I thought he had like – the dude should have stayed in Oregon.
Yeah.
Stayed at Oregon. He could have still been coaching there. He'd be like he could be an all-time college football great if he had done that. I mean, I live in LA. He's out at UCLA now. I keep telling myself I want to like go see a game sometime. And then I remember he's the coach. And I'm like, I'll wait till he's fired. And then I'll go.
I'll tell you what, though, the first time we saw his offense. The first time we saw his offense, though, was insane. When he came to DC, and we were like, oh my gosh, there's no way. One, this is not sustainable. And two, how do you stop it? Like the players were dead tired, but they were just, I think their offensive plays were breaking records every game for the amount of offensive plays. It was crazy.
You remember Foles?
Yeah.
In 2013, his second season. I think it was his second season, second or third. He threw 27 touchdowns and 2 interceptions.
Yeah.
And like people are like, Foles sucks. I'm like, dude, he threw 27 touchdowns. Like on no level can you suck and do that? Even in a great system. It's like I'm thinking of like the Hawaii quarterbacks that used to do like the run and gun, like Timothy Chang.
Rest in peace,
Cole Brennan. Yeah.
I would kill my mother to have a Washington quarterback throw for 27 touchdowns and 2 interceptions.
Seriously.
Yeah. Dude, by the way, can we talk about how Colt Brennan did nothing but dominate in preseason games?
Yes.
And never got a start. Never got a start for you guys. Never took a snap.
Nope.
Yeah, crazy.
That.
I mean, he got hurt though, so that's kind of what really accelerated his derailment with us.
Well, I think it was right after you guys. He got in that car accident, and it made him like crazy, and he was fucked up after that.
And the crazy thing is, the only reason he did get a shot was because Jim Zorn didn't like him. That's all it was. Zorn just didn't care for the guy personally, and you see, it's funny because one of the biggest blogs that covers the team is Hog Saban, and they have the preseason MVP award, which they now have named the Mason Brennan Award over Colt Brennan and Marcus Mason, who was a running back who ran for like 500 yards in 4 preseason games and never took a regular season snap.
Yeah.
So we're notorious for the preseason heroes.
Preseason
here.
Man, Colt Brennan, I had such a memory. Obviously, I love underdogs. I have a podcast about backup quarterbacks. But, like, I just remember him at Hawaii with, like, the rainbow visor. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Yep.
That was the most badass thing.
Yep.
He threw sidearms. He had a rainbow visor, and he plays for a college that's in the middle of the fucking Pacific Ocean. Yeah. I was like, that's the coolest quarterback in the NFL. I was so rooting that he would one day like get a shot somewhere. I mean, the truth is like as much shit as we've been talking about on each other's teams, I actually don't hate Washington football. Like I feel bad for you guys. Like I feel
Randall Cunningham is my favorite player ever.
What's up?
Randall Cunningham's my favorite quarterback ever.
Dude.
Never once rooted for them. But
when you talk about people like Michael Vick, it's all in the shadow of Randall Cunningham.
Yep.
Like,
can I tell a dirty secret then, since we're being honest here?
Yes.
Yeah, let's hear it.
So growing up, I had a huge starter Eagles like trench coat jacket.
Oh.
I had a Randall Cunningham jersey.
Eric, this is groundbreaking news, by the way.
Yeah, I never told anyone this.
Are
you serious? Is this before the yellow wave, Rick?
What kind of white mom gets a black kid a trench coat, man?
I'm pretty sure, like, if I go to my parents' house, like, so I'm from Connecticut. My father's from Georgia, but his high school colors were burgundy and gold. So that's a little bit of my Redskins origin story. But I liked Randall Cunningham as a kid, and then thankfully I just ended up switching over full time. So I never really rooted for the Eagles, but I had an affection for Randall Cunningham. I remember playing Tecmo Bowl and choosing the Eagles a lot more often because he was wicked fast, and either he's throwing a cannon or he's taking off and breaking tackles in Tecmo Bowl.
Not liking Randall Cunningham when you were a kid, when you were old enough to watch football games and see his highlights, that would be like not liking Michael Vick in 2005.
Yeah.
Or even after his dogfighting, which I liked him more. No, I'm just kidding.
I've been in a lot of dogfights.
Hey, that 07 was it 07 he came back and just took the lead?
I think he when did I graduate college? 2007. So he went away in 05?
6, wasn't it?
05, 06. Dude, so this is a true story. I was supposed to interview him that day that the story broke because I went to a school, Christopher Newport University, which is in Newport News, which is where he's from. Bad news.
Oh yeah.
And he was going to do like some football charity event at Warwick High School, which is right next to where I lived. The school paper put me on it. So I had like a list of questions for Michael Vick. And as I'm going over it, like my buddy puts on the TV and it's like fucking dog skeletons coming out of his house. And I was like, I don't think I'm going to get to ask him any questions today.
Yeah. he came back to Philly in 2009. Is what I see.
No, he went away. He did like a full 3 years at Leavenworth.
Yeah. I just remember him coming back to DC and him and Deshaun it was a Monday Night Football game. My father-in-law was there.
Dude. First play of the game.
Yeah, Deshaun for like 70 yards.
Oh my God, dude. I could come thinking about it.
LaRon Landry getting burned very badly.
Yeah.
And Albert Kingsford getting nap on the field.
Oh my God!
When I was saying I feel bad for you guys, I don't mean that in like a real like a condescending way. Like I mean it genuinely. Like I feel bad because I know that Washington fans are like diehard fans in the same cut of like I respect people who like know the game, love their team, stick with their team when their team sucks. Not like the fucking Cowboys. Or like fair weather fan bases or people who aren't even from an area pretending they like a team because they were good when they were kids. Like if you're still a Washington fan now, you must love the team. And like the fact that like so many people in my family are just diehard for them when they've been bad for decades or with little glimpses of stuff. I'm like, I do respect that. But like I remember just going to games and being like, parking is $55. Like like the way that like they screw you guys. Like, why do you play in Maryland? Why are you in Maryland? Like, just things like that. Where I'm like, it just feels like it's just needles in the fan base of like, let's do everything we can do to make people not want to root for our team. And like, I really do. You know, I don't want to make you guys start crying or anything, but like, I think you guys are fucked. I think like I appreciate you sticking with your team. But until you get rid of that guy at the top, man, who runs the organization like a Hooters, apparently, like you got.
I'll say this:
you got to move on.
I think we're better now.
I think we're better now. He's gotten rid of himself.
Yeah,
like they pretty much Ron Rivera and company told him, go to your yacht, go to the Mediterranean, show up on Sundays to watch the game, and we'll see you later.
Yeah.
And you know, you keep having lawsuits with the former minority owners and such over leaked news and things like that. You do all that. We'll handle the football shit.
You keep getting fined with cutting down the trees at your palatial Potomac estate to keep your view of the Potomac River. I love that story.
Oh, I remember that.
He's such a dickhead in every way you can be a dickhead, man.
There was another story where they, his kid went to school with another kid and they dropped him off, and he said, someone just stopped by and said, "Hey, Dan, how you doing?" And he goes, "It's Mr. Snyder." To his son's classmate.
Man, I talk like that too if I wear Timberlands to board meetings.
Now that information is like 7 years old, but still, it's still funny.
You know what'd be weird is like there's a chance we would meet him and be like, he's a cool guy. Like, who knows? Like,
yeah,
but
he wears Timberlands to board meetings.
He wears Timberlands. That's right.
Yeah,
and he laces them properly.
Does he fuck in Timberlands? Because if he fucks in Timberlands,
if he plays basketball in Timberlands, he's invited to the barbecue, bro.
In jeans.
Right.
Hey, Eric, I'm gonna try to. This has been an awesome chat. I'm gonna try to get to some of the questions that we at least had for you with your expertise with the backup. So earlier in this pod, you talked about you want to root for Taylor Heineke just because he has such a story where he didn't necessarily have a chance. He's out of the league. He's fucking taking accounting classes. He comes back in, plays pretty well against Tom Brady, and then we were all assuming that we signed him to a 1-year deal, very cheap. And we're like, okay, we're gonna roll with this guy coming up. And then we end up signing, Fitzpatrick a couple of weeks later. So with that, the question is, we know that you said you want to root for Heineke, but which quarterback do you think is actually the best for the Washington football team, since they're all basically backups anyway?
Who's behind Fitzpatrick and Heineke? I don't even. Who's
Kyle Allen, and then Jordan Ta'amu and or Steven Montez.
Did you guys have like a guy named Hamden something a while ago?
Oh yeah.
What was his name?
He was signed and then released.
He went to my high school.
Oh man,
it's like Hamden Brock or some name. Anyway, I'm not answering. Let me answer your question. I wanted to say that guy's name and have a really funny line, but I forgot his name. Who do I think's better?
Oh,
who's the best for that? Fucking week 1.
You went to O'Connell? You went to O'Connell?
Who's going to be the best?
I went to O'Connell, yeah.
My wife went to shit.
Ireton.
Ireton. She went to Ireton.
Do you even have a wife, Steve?
Ireton. Bishop Ireton. Yes. Funny. Okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to derail that.
I come from a family of Damascus.
I don't know how old your wife is, but it's possible I made out with one of her friends at Remember the Titans. I remember taking girls to movies when I was that age. So I think Fitzpatrick's probably a better player overall, but obviously Fitzpatrick is the most bipolar quarterback in the NFL. It's hack at this point to be 5 touchdowns one week, 5 picks the next week. But it's also it's an NFL season. Someone's going to get hurt. I feel like Heineke has a real shot. I mean, the way he played in that playoff game was just so inspired. And I don't know, this kind of goes back to the Foles question, which I didn't answer fully last time. But if the team plays well with a quarterback, that's what matters. And I feel like the Redskins have a team where it's they're both going to get a shot. I think Fitzpatrick's going to start games and Heineke's going to start games. And if you guys win, it doesn't matter if you win 2-0. Whoever started the 2-0 game should be the quarterback the next week. Because that's the biggest thing that happens, I think, in football with backups is these football nerds who don't play football try to be the smartest guy in the room, and they're like, yeah, Nick Foles won us the Super Bowl, but Carson Wentz is younger. I think we'll just commit to him and keep Foles on the team and put a statue of Nick Foles at the stadium that Carson Wentz gets to walk by every day. Yeah, I don't understand anything about human nature. I just assume that'll work out, right? Duh. It's just stupid.
It didn't work out for Minnesota with Keenan either. They should have kept him, Case Keenum.
Of course, dude. Yes. Here's the thing. If your team's having success, you ride the train into hell because that's why you're having success. It's the Ravens getting rid of Trent Dilfer after they win the Super Bowl. They're like, Elvis Grbac will be better. Yeah, they didn't even make the fucking playoffs the next season. And there's no question that Elvis Grbac is a better quarterback than Trent Dilfer. But for that team, Trent Dilfer is the quarterback.
Yep.
It's like imagine I play pickup basketball out here. when your team wins, it doesn't matter that like I'm a fat white dude playing point guard when I shouldn't be, that can't dribble. If I win, I get to play the next game. Someone's got to come beat me. I won. So the idea that like the people who won the Super Bowl or had success in a season don't get to run it back next, that's football nerds ruining the sport. It's people trying to be the smartest guy in the room, and they don't understand that like if the Eagles play better with Foles as quarterback because they know Foles isn't as good as Carson Wentz, and they have to hit their assignments better because this guy can't hack it unless they do, then who gives a shit? That's why they win. If they're winning, then you just let them keep doing it.
Yeah.
Like it fucks with team chemistry to do anything other than that. And I think it's like, I don't know. So with the I actually think you guys are in a great position because the rest of the team's going to have to nut up. You already have a great defense. Hopefully you get, I don't know what you did in the draft because you're not my team, but hopefully you got some weapons. And if Fitzpatrick plays great in week 1, great. And as soon as he starts playing like shit, which he will, HEINICKE will come in. And if he plays great, then go with him. It almost doesn't matter because you've got all the other pieces. The thing you shouldn't do is go like, well, we said Ryan Fitzpatrick was the starter and he's making more money, so we should go with him. Or, well, Tyler HEINICKE's younger and he had those great games 3 weeks ago. It's like, ride the hot hand. Stop acting like you know football if you don't. If the team's winning, you play the dude that won the game. It's that simple. To me,
I think Rivera's going to do that too, man. He just, it seems like with the way he's been running the team, I don't think that he's going to be reliant.
We went back to Alex Smith a few times.
He had
but
to.
he was winning games.
And you gotta remember,
go back to other guys, and you might be right, I guess.
But did he go? Yeah, I thought he went back to Alex Smith because Kyle Allen got hurt. Didn't he?
Yeah, because he went hurt, and then he went to.
He had benched Dwayne. He benched Dwayne. Kyle Allen got hurt, so Alex Smith comes in.
Yeah.
And we all hold our breath for 6 weeks.
Dude, how crazy? Dude, Alex's Smith leg looked like a half-eaten turkey leg at Thanksgiving dinner. The fact that dude played in the NFL again is like the most inspiring shit I've ever seen in my life.
And then he went and ruined it. Yeah, he went and ruined it on his way out.
What did he do?
Oh, he went to GQ and said, "Oh, they didn't really want me to play," and all this other stuff. And Ron Rivera came out and said, "Yeah, did you see basically said, did you see the guy's leg?
Looked like lasagna."
We didn't want to put him out there and just we didn't want to put him out there unless we had to."
Well, he took offense to the fact that Ron came out and said, "We think we could have did the same thing with a healthy Kyle Allen," and that's what started everything.
That would piss me off. That would offend my competitive nature too.
Yeah,
I would say if somebody said that. But like, in fairness to Rivera, Alex Smith looked like he stepped on a landmine.
He did.
He
rehabbed with War Heroes in the Center for Intrepid in Texas. Like, he did look like a war fucking I guess war battle injury. It was bad.
Yeah, my buddy's sister works at some medical, military hospital, and that's where he was for a little bit. So she was helping him rehab, and they were hooking up. He was cheating on his wife with her.
Damn!
I knew it. I told y'all.
How many ways can I get sued on this podcast?
I'm just reflecting back because just a minute ago he said he might know Steve's wife. I'm like, wait a minute. I'm trying not to tie all this shit together. Like it's Steve's wife.
Steve's gonna punch Dev in the face.
What I didn't mention, Malik Cunningham. I'm a Louisville guy, and Randall Cunningham's son starts quarterback for Louisville. Man, I forgot about that.
Does he?
Yeah, Malik.
What year is he?
I think he might be a junior or senior coming this year.
And he's gonna start.
He started last year. By the way, they're terrible. Louisville.
That's what I was gonna say. I didn't even know that he was Cunningham's kid, but I knew that they were terrible.
Yeah, they're fucking ass. The offense is okay. I wish they fire Satterfield. I hate that fucking. I'll take Chip Kelly. That's how bad we are.
How is Malik playing? Is he playing well?
He's really fast. Really fast.
That's not great when you ask how a quarterback's playing. It usually means there's no offensive.
And we're used to Teddy Bridgewater and Lamar Jackson. And then you got Cunningham. McCaffrey, Ed McCaffrey's youngest son, he transferred to Louisville. He's a quarterback. So it's supposed to be a quarterback battle.
Competition.
Right. They said one of them, the loser, will probably play receiver.
Well, because I like Randall Cunningham a lot more than Ed McCaffrey, I'm going to say definitively Malik's a better player.
There you go.
I'm sure he is.
I'm looking at his stats right now.
The kid, the ex-Giant, right?
Yeah, he had 20 touchdowns last year, 12 interceptions, 2,600 yards passing. But I mean, it's a COVID year, so can you really gauge the kids, production? I don't know.
The coach.
I can gauge it. Randall Cunningham's kid. I'm rooting for him. He's better.
There you go.
I feel no pressure to be correct about.
I think he'll get drafted. But maybe not at receiver. I think he'll get drafted though.
So Cunningham,
Dev sat here and said he would take Chip Kelly as a coach. On previous podcasts, he said that he would take for Louisville. He would take Jay Gruden back as their head coach too.
Over Satterfield, yeah. For sure.
This tells you Dev's standard for his own college team.
I would take Andy Dick at coach at Louisville if that's who could have.
Andy Dick?
Yeah. I don't give a shit who it is, man. That guy is
That's the best answer, yes.
Dude, Andy Dick is one of the most underrated comedic performers of all time.
For sure. And I watched the Employee of the Week or whatever the other day.
Yeah.
It's blind as fuck. It's like, what the fuck? That shit gets me every time, dude. It's funny as shit.
Dane Cook is not a good actor, but that's easily his funniest movie.
He's a terrible actor.
He's bad, but that movie is still really good.
He's the same guy in every movie like Keanu Reeves. It's pretty much Neo and everything, except for Bill and Ted. That's like the only thing he's different. Everything else, he's the same guy.
I can't go with you fully on that. I think Keanu Reeves is a little bit better than Dane Cook.
Keanu Reeves' movies are great but he's pretty much John Wick and Neo and the Ronin guy. They're the same dude, man. It's the same guy.
It's the same actor for sure. That's a good observation, Dev.
No, I'm just saying, but it's
the same.
I know. It's the same character. He doesn't do anything different. It's like, oh man, Neo's in the phone booth. You're like, I don't know what this shit is. These movies are great. I'll watch all of them.
So let me ask you this, Eric, because I enjoy your podcast. I of course love the Rex Grossman one because Rex was our guy.
Sexy Rex.
But let me ask you this:
the sex cannon.
The NFC, the sex cannon. The NFC East has given us a million backup quarterbacks in the past 40, 50 years. Which is the one that you're like, I have to do an episode on this guy at some point? Which is the one that's just like eating at you from the NFC East?
I don't know. I mean, look, because I'm an Eagles fan, I got the guy that I already did on my podcast for the Eagles was Coy Detmer. And he was always the one he was my favorite backup quarterback ever. He was like, I don't know why, but it was a 98 game. The Eagles were like 2-13, and they went to Green Bay on Monday Night Football, and it was Coy Detmer versus Brett Favre. And at one point, John Madden goes, he's like a less talented Brett Favre. And I was like, that just made me love him so much. And so he was the placeholder, and he was like really good for David Akers holding kicks. I just started rooting for him.
Louisville.
Akers?
Louisville.
Yeah. So so I think I got like my guy that I had to get right off the bat. I started my podcast with Coy Detmer. I honestly could have ended my podcast after Coy. I could have just done one episode and been like, called the podcast Coy Detmer was my favorite, and then that's the end. But I'll go away from my team and I'll say, because I'm on a Washington podcast, I'll throw you guys a bone. Who's your quarterback? I know I mentioned Shane Matthews and Danny Werfel. I'm obsessed with like crappy Spurrier era quarterbacks. I mean, I don't know if Gus Frerotte would count because he started a lot.
He did.
Jared Lorenzen, man. Jared Lorenzen.
He never came. He was a Giants backup quarterback.
But I'm saying it's
from Kentucky.
Jared Lorenzen. I would do
300 pounds.
I'm a little worried that like I'm going to do a whole podcast making fun of a dead dude, and then someone's going to email me. I think about Jared every day, like his fucking mom, and then I'm not going to sleep for 2 weeks.
He's like a hero in here in Kentucky. I hate anything Kentucky though, except for Jules Randle. I love that guy. Everybody else, fucking hate.
See, I figured you're going to say like Bobby Hoying.
No, dude, no. Bobby Hoying was so. That was such. Did you ever see that movie Jack? With
Yeah.
Robin Williams, where they're like he's 40 when he's 10.
Yeah.
And they never mention the fact that he has like a big hairy cock, which like to me the whole movie. Like they just skip over that part.
They just ignore that part of it. Yeah.
Yeah, like the most horrifying part of it.
I never saw that part, but I imagine what Robin Williams' dick looks like. That's what
No, there's a deleted scene where Robin Williams just jerks off in front of a mirror.
I mean, I believe it. I believe it. Got the caveman's nose.
No. So like, Bobby Hoying was like he came in for the last 2 games. This is right before they drafted McNabb, and or no, maybe it was a couple years, but it was actually a couple years before that. And like he played well against the Bengals in like a meaningless game at the vet. He threw like 3 touchdowns to bring them back, and then they're like, everybody in Philly bought Bobby Hoying jerseys. We were like, this is it. We finally got our guy. He started, I think it was 9 games the next season, threw 0 touchdowns and 11 interceptions. Like, there's never been a quicker cliff. Like, there was no, like, this part where you're supposed to get excited about a player was like 1 game, and then he was just horrible. And I think he was injured the next year, and now he like sells real estate or something. So, like, if I was objective, I'd say Bobby Hoying would be a great one, but it hurts so much to remember how much I was like looking forward to the Bobby Hoying season that I feel like it's like revisiting a trauma, to use a word everybody likes to use a lot. I feel like it's a childhood trauma to mention Bobby Hoying's name to anybody who's a true Eagles fan. I mean, I would go a little retro with you guys. Like, I know we mentioned Doug Williams before. I'd love to do an episode on Doug Williams. He had a fascinating career to me.
He had a fascinating like 3 games. He's pretty much trash after.
No, his career before that was interesting.
When he was in Tampa.
Yeah.
So, like, I know I mean, I guess that maybe he doesn't count as an NFC quarterback, but I would do him. If I was going to do a Dallas quarterback, God, I mean, look, Romo was a backup undrafted. I know we're supposed to hate him, but, like, I did kind of like him, if I'm honest. How do you not root for a guy that's undrafted out of a college that doesn't exist anymore?
You got to do Quincy Carter if you do a backup Cowboys quarterback.
Quincy Carter would be a good
I don't know what he's doing right now, but I'm sure he has a dime bag if you're looking for it. I'm sure.
Yeah, didn't he get caught with like wasn't he like selling Jamarcus Russell like the Robitussin before he was drinking it or something?
I don't know what
he got caught with that purple stuff.
Dude, you can look at him at Quincy Carter and be like, I know he got the best weed on the team. You ain't gotta ask. Like, I don't.
Look, Jared Lorenzen would be a great one. Quincy Carter would be a great one. I would love to do like a vintage Doug Williams. He's a little before my time, but it'd be fun to watch his old highlights. Yeah, I mean, look, I honestly feel like I've already got the guys I really like, though. I liked Coy Detmer, and I really liked Rex Grossman. I know you guys had years with him. So I feel like because of my, growing up watching NFC games, NFC East games, I should say, like, I feel like I've gotten the guys I for sure want to get so far. But yeah, those are the ones that are like next on the docket. I'm also trying to like do quarterbacks from around the league. So like when I message people, I'm like, oh, you're from Seattle. Here's your Matt Flynn episode or whatever.
Yeah.
So like, I feel like I've already covered all the NFC teams, the NFC East teams. So I won't get back to them for probably like another year. But when I do, I'll keep these guys in mind for my.
You got to get Colt McCoy one day. Colt McCoy's a great one. He's going to be a great one down the road.
Still playing though.
Yes,
I try to get him retired. I try to get him retired.
Okay, fair enough.
Well, see that whole there is a whole period. See, I think it's interesting because there is a whole period for the Eagles between Randall Cunningham and Donovan McNabb, where there was just a revolving door of backups coming in to play quarterback. And so I figured you would just hammer those guys out because you got both Detmers, you got Bobby Hoying, you got Rodney Pete, Mark Rippon was there for a minute.
You married Holly Robinson, Pete, though, so it worked out.
Yeah, I would only do Rodney Pete if I can get Holly Robinson Pete as the guest for the episode.
21
so if you
Are
can
you
like,
gonna do Michael Sam?
who was Michael Sam?
You remember
Line-
Michael Sam a couple years ago?
The linebacker.
No. Oh, the gay guy.
Oh, damn.
The first one to touch the ball, he said in the game. You know, okay. Bad joke.
I see what you're going for there. Look, I hope there's more gay guys in the NFL, man. Like,
Yeah.
the league will get better. There's a lot of great. You see how jacked gay dudes are? They'd be crushing it in the league. We all stop being a little less scared of our
guarantee-
sexuality. The games would be more entertaining with gay dudes. That's all I'm saying.
I'm pretty sure there's a ton of gay dudes in the NFL that just, aren't willing to tell it. So yeah,
We need one with like
Green Bay's had a number of
player too, right?
We need one like a real tough one with like a fruity nickname, like the guy. I don't want to say. Fuck it. I'm not going to leave it out.
Yeah.
It's like, how can I make sure that there's never another episode of this podcast? What else can I say?
Yeah, I was going to let it go.
Hey, Eric, I would be
We're
remiss
really going for it, Dev.
before we depart, though. Your preview for your Charlie Fry episode, although it's only like 10 seconds, is probably the funniest shit that I've seen in a really long time. And I do want to share it very quickly right here.
For sure.
Oh,
It is extremely funny. I got to play it. Ready? Here we go.
Charlie Fry. Charlie Fry.
Like, that is hilarious. Dude.
I didn't see that one yet.
For every single episode of my podcast, it's now annoying, so it'll stop at any point. But if you guys follow the bringing the backups on Instagram, I have all of them. So like, there's 18 episodes. There's 18 music promos for every show I've ever done with a song and the quarterback's name inserted into the lyrics.
The Charlie Fry, when he juked that was probably the slowest 3 steps I've seen in my entire life, but he still yoked the dude. The guy was like,
and that was That was Will Smith, the defensive end, who was pretty good.
That's the crazy part of that. I remember seeing it on a highlight and being like, "What the hell?"
I mean, he didn't get to the league getting tackled. I guess you know what I'm saying. I mean,
oh man,
dude, I only did Charlie Fry because I was doing a comedy festival in Akron, and I like, as I was doing the podcast, I hadn't decided on a quarterback yet, and I just Googled Akron Zip quarterbacks, and he set like every record there in the early 2000s. I was like, oh, that's perfect. I'm right next to where he played college. And then I realized he got drafted by the Browns, so he's like a hometown dude. And then everybody, as I was like just mentioning Charlie Fry to like comics that I was doing the set with, they were all like Ohio comics. They were like, oh, fuck yeah, dude, Charlie Fry, he got screwed, man. That guy was great. Like, he was not great. But like, that's one of the fun things about the show is like, every fan base has one guy that they're like, if he had only gotten a chance, like a couple more games, he could have shown what he had. And that's like the sweet spot. Like Charlie Fry is kind of the perfect guy where you're like 16 touchdowns, 27 interceptions, but like he had talent and he was if the team was a little bit better, you know? So I'm always looking for the guy who sucked but could have not sucked if he was drafted by Bill Belichick.
Yeah, question for you too, Eric. Now, so as we're winding down a little bit and talk about this upcoming season, who has a better season, Fitz or Hurts?
Hurts is gonna, just because Hurts is gonna play the whole. If they both stay healthy, Fitzpatrick will get benched at some point, and the Eagles have no one. But who the Eagles gonna play? Flacco?
yeah, that's exactly what they're gonna play.
No, they're not gonna do.
Because he can throw the ball.
He can't throw the ball.
Neither can Hurts.
What do you do? Yes, he can.
I don't think we know.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't throw.
Dude, Hurts had it. Did you watch Hurts at Oklahoma his senior season?
I watched Hurts
like
play
Hurts,
Washington his last game.
I wanted us to draft him. I like Jalen Hurts, man.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Definitely gave that away.
There's your next episode, Nate Sudfeld, right there.
Dude, Nate
Nasty
Sudfeld would just be me giving a fuck you to Giants fans.
Nasty Nate.
Dude,
Is that what
That's fine.
I think Hurts is going to have a pretty good season on a bad Eagles team. That's my prediction. I mean, he's a gamer. I love his attitude. Like, he's like the opposite of Carson Wentz, in that, like, Carson Wentz kind of, I think, when I say someone's a pussy, it's like a football pussy. They're a million times tougher than me, but they're not Ray Lewis when I say that. So that, with that caveat, Carson Wentz is like folded under the pressure. Like, I was half joking of like the Eagles had a statue of Nick Foles that Carson Wentz could see when he's going into the stadium, which is kind of like if there was a statue of like my wife's ex-boyfriend in my fucking kitchen and I had to like throw a bed sheet over it so I could get a fucking sandwich at 2:00 in the morning. Like, it would also drive me insane, so I can understand why that was hard. But think about Hurts, man. Hurts won a national championship at Alabama, then gets replaced by Tua in the championship game, sticks with the team, ends up like helping them to the championship the next year when he comes in, and then fucking goes to Oklahoma, learns how to throw in a season, and like has like a record-setting season as a passer in a different offense. To me, that's like almost, whether or not like he's got the best physical attributes for a quarterback, it's like he's got it fucking here, man. That's like a mentally tough person, and I'm like, I trust somebody like that to find a way to win when the game's close. I don't really trust someone like Wentz. So like, for that reason, I'm like, whatever Hurts' ability is, I believe he'll maximize it.
That makes sense. And I'll be honest with you, I liked Hurts more than Tua. I'm not a big Tua fan, never was.
Yeah.
As far as being a pro quarterback. So, I think you'll get better results out of Hurts as opposed to what the Dolphins may get out of Tua, at least this season. I think Hurts will hit his max potential, pretty easily.
Tua also has Devontae Parker and what's his face at receiver and Galecki at tight end. Gesicki at tight end. Like that's a whole different animal when you have that kind of guys with you. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
you're right, dude. But the Eagles actually have good weapons when they're healthy. I mean, the Eagles got the receiver from Alabama who I'm blanking on right now.
Smith.
Like I know their TCU receiver was like a reach last year, but I think he'll be better. Miles Sanders is way underrated. I think he's one of the better running backs in the league that just doesn't get used enough. And they still have, after all the talk about Ertz being gone, they still have Ertz. They still have Goddard. I don't think the Eagles' weapons are bad. And I don't think the line's that bad. I think that defense is going to be a nightmare, and they're going to be playing from behind. But again, that's probably going to make Hurts' numbers look even better than they maybe are. Like there might even be like an optical illusion going on there. Plus, obviously, Hurts can run. I do think Hurts is going to have like – I don't think there's any reason he won't be the Eagles quarterback for the next 6 or 7 seasons. Like I think he's totally got that in him. It's just a question of like, if I'm honest, I think you guys have a better roster. I think the Cowboys have a better roster. And the Eagles are going to battle out with the Giants to be the worst team to not be the worst team in the NFC East. That's my prediction. But I don't think that's a reflection on Jalen Hurts not developing. I think he will.
Right. I think the offense is going to be good.
I think it'd be smart if y'all lean on Miles Sanders a lot more. I'm a Penn State fan, so I love Miles Sanders. I think he's a fantastic running back, and I always found it surprising that the Eagles didn't lean on him more, no matter who was under center, because it's like you got this fantastic talent back here, and we're gonna have Wentz chuck it up 60 times a game.
I think Dickerson was a good pick for you guys too at center. Or I think he might play guard for you guys, right?
I have no idea. I only watched the draft for 5 minutes to cheer when he got the receiver, and then I turned it off.
Lineman from Alabama.
I hope so. Yeah, sure. I don't know. Philly. Your name is Philly. You're a Penn State fan. I think you're a liar. I think you're an Eagles fan in your house. This is insane. Why aren't you rooting for Virginia Tech?
That's right. That's my team.
I'm not. Hold on. I'll tell you why. Okay, I'm a DC native, right?
All right.
So obviously, all my pro sports teams are Washington sports teams. So you can imagine I've had a lot of ups and downs. The Penn State thing just comes from the fact that I watched a lot of Penn State growing up. Maryland football didn't even get on TV as much as Penn State football because Maryland football in the late 80s, early 90s was absolute garbage when they're, with Scott Milanovic at quarterback of all people, running a run and shoot up there. Just nobody was watching. So I never caught on to Maryland football because it was just never on. I was never able to get really exposed to it. Only reason I know that Maryland football was trash was hearing that it was trash. Then I go back and look and I'm like, yeah, that's absolutely right. So, but since Penn State was always on Saturdays and Penn State was close enough, I kind of adopted them.
Yeah, this is what I think. I think Philly's an Eagles fan, and you guys have a traitor in your midst. That's what I think.
Yeah, in the ranks, aspire.
These guys know better because I'm extremely passionate on anything burgundy and gold, especially when it comes to this new name debate. Because I know you're a comedian. If you saw some of the names these people are floating out there, it is straight comedy.
Still think that's the name of Fast Blacks. My opinion. That's what I think.
What about Wild Hogs? How is Wild Hogs not
fucking John Travolta be the mascot?
The Washington Wild Hogs. And no, and your mascot is William H. Macy trying to breakdance. Because didn't he do that on
I like William H. Macy though.
You guys, Washington has the dumbest names. You have a basketball team named the Wizards.
Oh, they don't count. We love them, but they don't count.
I still call them the Bullets.
I'm a Knicks
fan,
so
Dude, the whole reason I've done this bit on my podcast before, but whatever, if people see it twice, they can fuck off. There's I remember I had a buddy on my show who was from DC and he's a huge Wizards fan. And I was like, why aren't you guys the Bullets? The Bullets is like one of the coolest names. He's like, yeah, man, there were a lot of shootings back in DC. And I was like, well, that sounds like the perfect reason to be called the Bullets then. It sounds like it matches the region. Exactly.
It actually has to go to world events that are going on to this day.
I use that same logic when I call them the Fast Blacks. Exact same logic. I mean, it's true.
Rod and Dev are Knicks fans, so they don't relate. Me and Phil are the Wizards fans, so they don't really relate to the pain we have as Wizards. They had Monarchs, they had the Rubies, they had a bunch of throwaway names for the fan voting. So, at least we can appreciate we're getting a vote. Whether we really have a say or not, I don't know.
Dude, there's a contingent on social media that is spamming every one of these online polls for the name to be Red Wolves. And I said, there are no Red Wolves anywhere near DC.
There's no fucking Wizards in DC, bro.
We know. We know.
I live near Page County, Virginia. There are some Wizards out there.
What the fuck is an Expo, man? What was that thing? Where is New England? What the fuck did they play at?
Are you asking what the Montreal Expos were? I actually know what the Expos are.
All right, what are those?
I read a book called Up, Up and Away, which was about the Montreal Expos. There was a Montreal Expo fair that was very famous that happened, like a World's Fair, and then they got their baseball team 2 years later, so they called them the Montreal Expos. The Montreal Expos are one of the coolest franchises in baseball, and you guys ruined it.
Damn!
The Orioles. The Orioles. The Orioles are not going to be in Baltimore in 5 years because there's nobody going to those games. Even though it's the most beautiful stadium in baseball, they have 8 fans.
But Eric, here's the thing though. They still get the 90-10 split over all the TV revenue for both teams, which is asinine. But
the Orioles do?
They do. That was the only way.
They have a joint ownership of the cable station.
And that was the only way they would get the Peter Angelos to vote for the Nationals to come, be in this area was if he got 90% of the TV revenue. So it's something they're struggling with.
Wait a minute. Hold on. 90% of Nationals revenue goes to the Orioles?
Television revenue.
Yeah, television revenue. Holy cow.
But TV revenue is probably your biggest source of revenue.
Yeah, that's insane.
Thug life.
Yeah. It's been in court. It's been in court for 6 years now. It's just keep getting.
Dude, literally, that is what's keeping the Orioles alive. Their attendance is. I feel bad.
Yeah.
Let's put it this way: anyone who thinks Dan Snyder is the worst owner in sports doesn't know who Peter Angelos is.
Yeah. And he
Because
doesn't
Peter
want to pay for
Angelos
anybody.
is the devil.
Sound like he's the
He
best owner.
ruined
He had
the
that
Orioles.
contract.
He's
Actually, this conversation is evidence that he's pretty shrewd.
He's pretty good at it. I mean, he does. That's what, like,
he
you
has
look
all
at
this
his, you look
money
at
and he
his,
still hasn't put together a decent team in 2 decades.
his eHarmony profile
Sound
says
familiar?
does business. That's all it says. I mean,
Oh man.
The Orioles haven't been any good since the late 90s.
Yeah, but who do they play, dude? Who do they play?
Yeah.
Come on,
Yankees.
Could you
The Devil Rays.
Play the Yankees.
yeah. We like me and Rod are also Yankees fans. Works
Oh,
out.
Man, how does that make sense? Oh well.
I live in
Hey,
Kentucky.
Eric.
We don't have any sports teams.
What?
I'm from Connecticut, and my first professional baseball game, Doc Gooden threw a no-hitter versus Seattle Mariners. So being 15 and witnessing that, like, I already like the Yankees, but that definitely cemented it for me. Like, holy shit. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's
I
history.
remember
right
Doc Gooden as a Met.
If you get those early childhood experiences, my dad used to take me to Army football games. He went to West Point.
Yeah.
So now I'm like a diehard Army football fan, even though they run an offense from like the 1930s.
Triple option, 0 passes.
Yes.
They
Drives
do.
me nuts.
There was a season 3 years ago. They won 4 games without attempting a pass. Attempting a pass. They won 4 games.
That's embarrassing for the opposing team. Like,
You know
we're
how
gonna
tough
run the ball
on
down
defense
your
you got to
throat.
be to know that they're going to run 50 times at your face,
Yeah.
and you got to
But
know you
dude-
got to stop it.
But the way
Georgia Tech does it too.
they did, Georgia Tech got rid of their option now. The Army's the only. It's Army, Navy, and then like Air Force.
Probably. All the
academies.
military academies.
Yeah, those are the only ones now that run a full triple option. Tulane's kind of close, but like it's fascinating to watch a team know you're going to run. They know you're going to run, and you still get 5 yards every play. It's kind of like it's weird. It's like they're playing anti-football.
Yeah,
they're like let's play a version of football where the other offense gets to run like 8 plays, and we control the ball for 55 minutes, and we win 3-0. But like, there's something, and also what's great about Army football, like, because I watch games, usually it's like a battle with my wife to be like, I can't watch football for 3 hours. I'm like, an Army football game lasts 1 hour and 10 minutes because
the clock never stops.
The clock never stops. No one ever scores.
Just scout teaming for that shit must be awful.
The what?
Just scout teaming for that shit the whole week before prepping. That would be awful. Just be a safety at practice. They run like 50 times in practice preparing you for that shit.
They wear you down, man. I mean, look,
Right.
it's like the old football used to be like that too, where you run the ball, 70% of the time. That was the old NFL. It's obviously not anymore, but it's an interesting thing. I like the Kansas City. I know we're running low on time here, so this will be my last little story. But like, I like the Kansas City Royals, and I started rooting for them because my dad used to work in at Fort Leavenworth, so I'd go out there for summers, and I had nothing to do but go and watch the 2002 Kansas City Royals get smoked by every team that came into Kansas City for a month. So I would just go watch these games. There's nobody there. I'm watching. The Royals were like the worst team and the oldest team, which is never a good combination.
Like Bo Jackson's Royals?
No, he's
like-
he's in the Mike Sweeney era.
Yeah. Mike Sweeney, Terrence Long, just terrible players. And I started rooting for them. And what their new management did is they were like, everybody's trying to hit home runs. Everyone's going for home runs. We're going to have an all-contact baseball team where, like, we don't strike out ever. We just put the ball in play. And so that was like, it ran so counterculture to what everybody did that they stood out, and like other teams didn't know how to play against it because it was just so, it's almost like you're so antiquated. It's hard, like you were saying, it's hard to prep for it. Yeah. And that's what Army football is too, is like big schools like Alabama won't schedule them because it's like they might fucking lose because they haven't played anybody like that in 8 years unless they played like the Citadel or some shitty D2 school. Yeah. So like there's something fascinating about going so against the grain of what everybody else is doing that it actually starts working. So anyway, this is my pitch for people to start watching Army football. But I think it's fascinating.
Beat Navy. Just run around saying beat Navy every.
Yeah, that's all you gotta say. Yeah, that's all you gotta know.
You got two Army guys on this pod, one current, one former. So you're winning them over.
Good.
At Leavenworth now.
Rodney's at Leavenworth right now. He's currently there.
Oh wow. Okay. Yeah.
Ask your father when's the last time he beat Navy, and get his response. You'll kind of a running joke, But Eric, hey, we really sincerely want to thank you for taking your time to sit down and chop it up with us. Talking about backups, talking about the NFC East, talking about just football in general. It's always enlightening to have a wonderful guest who's outside of the Washington football realm and just kind of opens our aperture a little bit than just talking about our one little team. But hey, for all the listeners, who don't know you yet, and can you tell them where can we find you on social media or in any of your platforms? What's the best way they can find your content?
So you just go at Erick Hellwig on Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook. Eric with a CK. Hellwig, like hell, the place. Wig, like a thing on your head. Erick Hellwig.
Thing all of us need except for you.
and if you want to find my podcast or anything else I'm doing, you can just check out my website. That's the easiest way. Everything's there. ErickHellwig.com. You can listen to the pod, bring in the backups. And obviously, if you're liking the show, subscribe. You can write into me. Let me know a backup you want to hear me talk about. It's a very try to encourage interaction with the show. I like talking with fans. So yeah, if you want to hear me opine about Alex Van Pelt for 2 hours, and then interview a open mic comedian from New York that I used to work with. Bringing the backups is for you. So check out the pod, and all at my website, erichellwig.com.
I'll be looking forward to that Gary Kubiak pod when it comes out.
Yeah, he'd be a good one. Was he a quarterback or a kicker?
He was a quarterback. He backed up Elway's entire career.
Oh shit! Who's the guy that backed up Peyton Manning? Jim Sorgi. I got to get him on.
Paul Justin.
Frank Reich. Frank Reich's a good one.
So I'm doing my next quarterback is going to be. They were like, everybody's like wants me to do a Buffalo episode. They're like, you got to do Frank Reich. I'm like, I'm doing Alex Van Pelt, who backed up Frank Reich. It's kind of like a fuck you to everybody that keeps telling me I have to do Frank Reich. So basically, when I say I like interaction with my guests, I mean if you request a quarterback, I'll do the guy that's backing up the guy you want me to hear. So it's a very antagonistic relationship I have with my fans, but feel free to join in. It's a lot of fun.
No, that's awesome, man. Like Steve said, Eric, it was a pleasure having you on, man. It's good to talk shit like Steve said with someone else outside the Washington circle, because it can get monotonous at times and a little bit stale. So I think you definitely brought some flavor. We have a podcast that we specifically name The Barbershop. It goes long as fuck, like 2.5 hours long. We drink and we're probably pretty toasted. I want you on one of those pods, man. So hopefully your line stays open and you are willing to come on, because I love your energy tonight and you definitely fit in well with us. So when we have a barbershop pod, either Steve or I will send you an invite, but please join us, man. It's fun. There's no topics at all. We just rant and bullshit like we pretty much did the first 25 minutes of this pod. And I think you'll be a perfect guest for that, man. So this was awesome. I appreciate you, man.
Of course, dude. I've never had like a pep talk after a podcast, during a podcast. He was like, look, man, you got in there. You really synced up with us. You talked some shit. Way to go, buddy. It was nice. Usually people save that for the part where they say, all right, goodbye, Eric. Wait a second. And then tell me that. But I like that you included it in the podcast.
I can edit it, so it's no big deal. It could be after the pod. No big
Leave
deal.
it in.
Fuck you, Eric. I didn't say any of that shit.
Pulling back the curtain right now.
He has a lot because I usually smoke weed on the pod. And he cuts it out.
Man, y'all be good on there.
I appreciate you guys having me too, and yeah, I'm down for whatever. I'd love to come back on to this show or any other shows you do. You just hit me up.
Yeah, definitely, man. Appreciate you.
All right.
Bye. Peace.
Later.
Sure.